This is good to see everybody. A terrific film. It's extremely funny and affecting. And Emma and anybody else who'd like to comment, why do you think Pamela Travers, who can be so hurtful and so mean, is so much fun and so kind of irresistibly adorable?
That is the first time I've heard her called irresistibly adorable, but I'll take it. Is it not rather nice for all of us who've been so well brought up, and we're all so bloody polite all the time, Americans particularly, to see someone being rude? It's bliss, isn't it? I think we act quite a lot of the time in sort of conflict with what we really feel.
That's a stupid thing to say.
Exactly, there you go. How much did we enjoy that? We love that.
So rude to celebrate rudeness.
We could carry on like this for a long, long time.
For Miss Thompson and Mr. Hanks, you're playing over here. You're playing characters. One's got a very high public profile, one less well known. What were the little breadcrumbs that you used to follow the trail to get the essence of who these people were, rather than to try to do imitations, that sort of thing?
There is a bit of a vocal cadence and a rhythm that Mr. Disney had that took a while to figure out. But a lot of the little anecdotes we found specifically from the likes of Richard Sherman, and were already in the play, in the screenplay. For example, like Walt's cough. Walt smoked 3 packs a day, and Richard Sherman, and was in the screenplay as well, is that you knew. He said you always knew when Walt was coming to visit your office because you could hear him coughing, from down by the elevator. So you're able to put that kind of stuff into it, and it just ends up being, one of the delightful cards in the deck.
I like that you use breadcrumbs, because I think it makes me think of Theseus and the Minotaur, and the fact that P.L. Travers was so fascinated with myth and was a searcher all her life. So it was very breadcrumby, my search for her. She went everywhere you can imagine. She was like going into a maze, and round some corners you'd find this terrible monster, and round another corner you'd find a sort of beaten child. So she was the most extraordinary combination of things, and I suppose that was the scary thing, because in films, I don't know whether my colleagues would agree, but we often get to play people who are emotionally or at least morally consistent in some way. And she wasn't consistent in any way. So you would not know what you would get from one moment to the next. So that you could have had a very close moment with her on one day. And I got this from her friends. And then the next day they might have gone to see her and she would have treated them as if... It's like that moment that Kelly created and invented with Paul Giamatti's character, where she says, you're the only American I've ever liked. And he says, oh, really? How fascinating. Why? Will you tell me why? And she says, no. I don't want to tell you any more about that. Now you're just asking too much. Go away.
Hey, you know what you do with breadcrumbs, don't you? You feed the birds, the birds alive. The birds, the birds, the birds alive.
Right aisle there.
My question is for Emma. I found it a little bit funny. You've won an Oscar for screenplay, and you have played a nanny. And here you are. I'm Nanny McPhee?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Oh
my God.
That was I'm intrigued face. Sorry.
Okay.
Did it come out wrong? Sometimes that happens.
I was like, did I totally just mess that up? Oh, right. Heart attack. Okay, well, my question is, here you're playing a person who is helping in a screenplay about a nanny, and I'm wondering if that at all affected your approach to this film.
No. No, I can't resist, sorry. I'll tell you what is interesting. P.L. Travers likened, she used to talk a lot about Buffalo Bill. And while I was replaying her and discovering what she was, while I was researching her, I found out that she referred to Mary Poppins in very similar ways. She had understood that there was a spot of Zen mastery in the way in which she worked, but also that, and this is my theory, but I think that because women have traditionally been locked out of the superstructures or the power structures that we all live in, Buffalo Bill's a very good example, because I've always thought that Nanny McPhee was essentially a Western, only set in a domestic environment, and she felt the same way about Mary Poppins. So there's a very real connection in the sense that, you know, the outsider comes into the place where there is difficulty and solves the problem using unorthodox methods and then must leave. That's a Western. And because women don't have that kind of power, the Western form, which is a myth, an essential myth, what she would have called an essential myth, emerges in the female world in the nursery. So that's what comes to mind when you, I don't think I've answered your question at all. Do forgive me. But it was the interesting thing I thought that I could tell you.
All the way over here on the left.
Hi, my question is for Colin. Your rapport with little Annie Rose Buckley is genuinely beautiful. How did you go about creating that special bond with her?
A stick. And alternated with sugar cubes, which I got from the horse trainer. No, she was just a dream, Annie, to be around. I mean, people say you shouldn't work with children or animals, but you must only work with children because you work 8 hours a day. She was a dream. She, from what I could tell, she didn't exude ambition, and sometimes kids do, of course, and which is not to say she's not ambitious, and that would be fine if she was, but she didn't exude ambition, and she didn't seem to be too fazed by any of it. And she was just a really, really sweet presence to be around, and to see how beautiful and open her face was on the monitor, and just in being around her was kind of like, it was the most exquisite of canvases upon which the later life of P.L. Travers was born, as she witnessed what her father was putting himself through, and thereby putting everyone else in the family through as well. I mean, I have to accept some responsibility for the emotional inconsistency of P.L. Travers. I think that probably the apple fell a little bit close to the stump on that one.
We're getting to as many of you as we can, as quickly as we can, in the center there.
For Ms. Thompson and Mr. Hancock and anybody else who might want to weigh in, I mean, P.L. Travers made it very clear in the film what she thought of Disney's Mary Poppins, but how do you think she would have responded to Saving Mr. Banks?
Silently.
Yeah. Dead.
Too much?
You know what? I've been asked this question a few times, and I reckon this is a woman who kept on saying, I don't want anything, I don't want a biography, I don't want anything like that, I don't want anyone to know anything about me. Meanwhile, she kept everything she wrote and sent it for the archives at Brisbane University. So she felt, I'm certain, that she was an important contributor to the artistic, to the culture, and wanted, I think, to have it preserved. And I think that what she would say about this is it's absolutely ridiculous film. I have no relationship whatsoever to what was happening, but you know, it's about me. And at last, and I thought that the clothes were really rather nice. I think that's
Mr. Hanks and Ms. Thompson, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the challenges of playing such iconic characters, research you did, talking to people that knew them, and how that helped you inform your performances.
There's a lot of anecdotal information that kept coming to us. There were people who knew Walt, and they still have access to the studio because I think they still have their cards that let them on stage. They searched us out. Richard Sherman was a never-ending, literally never-ending fountain of stories, of facts, of anecdotes, of bits and pieces of everything that had happened. And Diane Disney Miller, his daughter, gave me unlimited access to the archives in the museum in San Francisco. Made a couple of visits there, so I had a lot of video and audio that I could work with. Which the only handicap there was a lot of it is Walt Disney playing Walt Disney. But even in some of that and plenty of others, there's an ocean of cadence to the man, and that true sense that he believed everything that he said about his projects. He completely embraced the possibilities of wonder in the movies that he was going to make, as well as the rides he was going to come up with, and the things that he was going to build. So I had a great roadmap in order to search it out.